1800, 1850 going once, and again 1800, 1850 going twice, selling up through well then, 1880, 1859, sold that through way, the blind man, 1800.
They said Barry Weiss was dead, and fans actually believed it. On April 24, 2019, the Storage Wars icon nearly lost his life in a horrific motorcycle crash that left him fighting through multiple surgeries and months in a hospital bed. Afterwards, he vanished from the spotlight, igniting terrifying rumors and emotional reactions from those closest to him. For months, questions flooded the internet. Was this the end of one of reality TV's most unforgettable personalities? Join us as we uncover the truth behind what really happened to Barry Weiss, the produce king who became the collector. Long before Storage Wars made him famous, Barry Weiss and his brother, Joey, made their fortune in the wholesale produce business. Barry had spent 25 years of his life building his family's impressive produce empire, working long hours in an industry that most people never think about when buying groceries. The wholesale produce business operates on thin margins, requires extensive logistics knowledge, and demands relationships with growers, transporters, and buyers across multiple countries. Barry's success in this challenging industry proved his business acumen and work ethic. Eventually, Barry grew tired of the produce business and decided to pursue what he really loved: collecting antiques and unusual treasures. Barry had begun collecting antiques since he was just 15 and hasn't stopped since. In fact, he had developed an expertise across diverse categories, from classic cars to war relics, vintage toys to industrial machinery over the years. His collection grew so extensive that he needed warehouses to store everything. What started as a teenage hobby evolved into a lifelong obsession. While other kids collected baseball cards or comic books, young Barry hunted for genuinely rare antiques, items with history and stories embedded in their creation. This early collecting instinct made him perfect for Storage Wars, where the thrill was discovery rather than profit. Barry's collecting philosophy differed fundamentally from most antique dealers. Professional dealers acquire items to resell at profit, viewing each piece as inventory. Barry acquired items because they fascinated him, viewing each piece as a treasure worth keeping. This hoarder mentality, buying things with no intention of selling, only works if you have the financial resources to indulge it. Fortunately, Barry's produce business provided exactly that. The produce empire Barry and Joey built wasn't glamorous work. Wholesale produce requires waking before dawn to bid at markets, managing perishable inventory that loses value by the hour, coordinating trucks and drivers across vast distances, and maintaining relationships with growers who depend on you to move their crops. The margins are tight, the competition fierce, and the work never stops. But over 25 years, the Weiss brothers turned their grandfather's company into a thriving operation that generated millions in revenue. They understood logistics, negotiation, quality control, and customer service, skills that translate across industries. By the time Barry retired in his late 40s or early 50s, he'd accumulated enough wealth to fund his collecting passion indefinitely. Barry's net worth is currently estimated at $10 million as of 2025, accumulated primarily through his produce business rather than storage locker finds. This financial independence meant Barry never needed Storage Wars for income. He participated for fun, for the hunt, for the thrill of discovering unusual items that sparked his curiosity. Another thing Barry has is the right connections. He is the godfather to Jesse James, who hosted the reality show Monster Garage and is known for custom motorcycles and firearms manufacturing. This connection to Jesse James shows Barry's lifelong passion for unique vehicles and custom machinery. Before joining Storage Wars, Barry Weiss starred in a Discovery Channel TV movie with Jesse James called Motorcycle Mania 3. demonstrating his comfort on camera before A&E came calling. When executive producer Tom Beers approached Barry about joining Storage Wars, Barry had never purchased a storage unit in his life, but his decades of antique collecting experience, his natural charisma, and his willingness to be himself on camera made him perfect for the show. Barry's main emphasis was not on potential profits from items, but rather on the hunt for unique and intriguing treasures that piqued his interest, creating a fundamentally different dynamic than other buyers focused solely on financial returns. But would this eccentric approach to storage auctions translate to television success, or would Barry be overshadowed by more aggressive bidders? The collector who stole the show. When Storage Wars premiered on December 1, 2010, Barry Weiss was one of the main buyers featured from the very first episode. The show's premise was simple. When rent isn't paid on California storage lockers for 3 months, contents can be sold at cash-only auctions. Professional buyers get 5 minutes to inspect from the doorway, then bid blindly on what might be inside. Among the original cast, which included Dan and Laura Dotson as auctioneers, Dave Hester as the antagonistic veteran buyer, Daryl Sheets as the aggressive gambler, and Jared Schultz and Brandy Passante as the scrappy young couple, Barry stood out immediately. He frequently appeared on screen sporting West Coast chopper glasses, skeleton gloves, and driving attention-grabbing vehicles like the chicken-themed automobile. Barry's vehicles became almost as famous as he was. He drove custom hot rods, classic cars with absurd modifications, and vehicles that no sane person would take to a storage auction. The chicken car, a purple custom vehicle covered in chicken-themed decorations, became iconic, proving Barry's refusal to take anything too seriously. He also brought psychics to auctions who would help them guess what was kept in storage units, a gimmick that annoyed serious buyers like Dave Hester but delighted viewers. While other cast members studied market values and calculated profit margins, Barry consulted psychics and followed hunches, treating the entire enterprise as entertainment rather than business. Barry's laid-back style and comic timing made him a fan favorite. As per his A&E bio, Barry is always looking for an out-of-the-box approach to get his next score, and he lacks no shame in his outlandish tactics. You can always look to Barry for the great one-liners. He's never one to bite his tongue. He earned the nickname The Collector because he hoarded interesting items rather than immediately flipping them for profit. Unlike other buyers who treated storage units as inventory to sell, Barry treated them as treasure hunts where the joy was discovery itself. This fundamental difference in motivation created compelling television. Viewers could live vicariously through Barry, imagining they too would keep the cool stuff rather than worrying about profit margins. Barry was part of the main cast rotation for 4 seasons, appearing in over 80 episodes from 2010 to 2013. During this period, Storage Wars became one of A&E's most successful shows, consistently drawing millions of viewers who tuned in weekly to see what treasures, or trash, emerged from abandoned lockers. He also initially formed an early alliance with newcomer Kenny Crossley, after Kenny helped him open a jammed locker. The pair became close friends, with their chemistry extending beyond Storage Wars into Barry's spin-off shows. Kenny, who hailed from New Orleans and had worked in law enforcement before managing storage facilities, provided perfect comic foil to Barry's eccentricity. But by 2013, Barry was ready to move on. On June 25, 2013, it was reported that Weiss would not return to the show for Season 5 and that he was leaving the series. Fans were devastated, flooding A&E with questions about why their favorite cast member was departing. The network remained tight-lipped, fueling speculation about conflicts, contract disputes, or health issues. The truth was far simpler. Barry told interviewers, "I had a blast. It was fun, but I had enough, and I kind of wanted to leave while it was still popular. Barry recognized that reality shows have shelf lives, that staying too long risks becoming stale, and that leaving while audiences still want more preserves legacy better than outstaying your welcome. Barry left because he felt it was a perfect time to go, wanting to return to his original job of professional slacker, the lifestyle his produce business millions had earned him. At age 62, Barry had achieved fame, entertained millions, and proven he could succeed in television. Now he wanted to do what he'd always done: collect interesting things, drive cool cars, and live life on his own terms without cameras following him. But would A and E let their breakout star disappear quietly, or would they find ways to keep Barry on television? Spin-off success and the motorcycle mania dream. A and E wasn't ready to let Barry go entirely. In February 2014, the network announced that Weiss would be starring in his own spin-off series titled Buried Treasure. The show would focus exclusively on Barry as he traveled America in unusual vehicles, hunting for rare antiques and valuable collectibles without the competitive auction element of Storage Wars. Buried Treasure ran for 8 episodes in 2014, chronicling Barry's cross-country trophy hunting exploits. The spin-off saw Barry veer from his route to co-pilot a buggy in Amish country and take a camel ride in Appalachia, embracing the absurdist approach to television that defined his personality. Without the auction competition and established cast dynamics, Buried Treasure felt different from Storage Wars. The show emphasized Barry's personality and vehicles over the treasure hunt itself, betting that viewers loved Barry enough to watch him do essentially anything. For some fans, this worked perfectly. They wanted more Barry, regardless of format. For others, the magic of Storage Wars came from the ensemble cast and competitive bidding rather than just one person's adventures. Unfortunately, a lack of interest in the spin-off resulted in it not being renewed by A and E. 8 episodes proved insufficient to build audience loyalty, and ratings didn't justify the production costs of following Barry across America with full camera crews. But A and E tried again. In 2015, Barry returned to the Storage Wars franchise in the special edition Storage Wars, Barry Strikes Back, in which he and fellow Storage Wars star Kenny Crossley reviewed their favorite Storage Wars moments and shared behind-the-scenes snippets. This clip show format required minimal new filming while capitalizing on existing Storage Wars footage and fan nostalgia. Barry Strikes Back provided commentary, revealed behind-the-scenes stories, and gave Barry and Kenny opportunities to joke about moments that had seemed serious during original broadcasts. For dedicated Storage Wars fans, the show offered new perspectives on familiar episodes. For casual viewers, it felt like filler content rather than essential viewing. After Barry Strikes Back ended its brief run, Barry largely disappeared from television for several years. Following Barry Weiss's retirement from Storage Wars, he was looking to make shows connected to his love of motorcycles. "I'm pretty knowledgeable in all types, 2 wheels and 4 wheels," he revealed in a 2017 interview. Barry's passion for motorcycles ran deep. His friendship with godson Jesse James centered on custom bikes and cars. His personal collection included rare motorcycles alongside his vintage automobiles. A motorcycle-focused show seemed like a perfect fit for Barry's interests and expertise, potentially reaching audiences who cared more about bikes than storage lockers. But before any motorcycle show could materialize, tragedy struck. On April 24, 2019, Barry's motorcycle passion nearly killed him in an accident that would change everything. But would he survive the devastating crash? And if so, could he ever return to the life he'd built? The April 2019 crash that nearly killed the collector. In April 2019, Barry Weiss was involved in a serious motorcycle accident that nearly ended his life. The accident occurred around 2:30 p.m. on Wednesday, April 24th, in the Los Feliz neighborhood of Los Angeles. Barry and his friend Jamie Robinson were riding motorcycles when disaster struck. According to TMZ, a car pulled out of a parking space and Barry and his friend crashed into it. Barry's friend, who is unnamed in official reports, stated that the car pulled out directly in front of us and took our road away. Neither drugs nor alcohol impaired either man, TMZ confirmed, and the driver of the car they crashed into had purportedly backed up without looking beforehand. The impact was devastating. Barry was transported to a local hospital with his injuries, which included a significant chest injury, broken bones, and other internal injuries. He was placed in ICU in stable but serious condition. He remained in the hospital for 2 months after the accident, slowly recovering in the ICU and requiring multiple surgeries. He underwent multiple surgeries and was in intensive care, spending 2 months recovering in a hospital. The surgeries addressed internal injuries, repaired broken bones, and dealt with complications that arose during recovery. There were also some reports he had a stroke while recovering, though these reports remain unconfirmed by Barry or his representatives. If true, a stroke during recovery would have added immense complexity to his rehabilitation, requiring physical therapy, speech therapy, and occupational therapy on top of healing from the crash itself. The accident kept Barry away from TV for a long time, and his health became more important than work. For a 68-year-old man to suffer such catastrophic injuries and survive required both excellent medical care and Barry's own determination to recover. The crash spawned death rumors across social media. Inspiring rumors of his death was the fact that Weiss ended up in a life-threatening accident. Fans who hadn't seen Barry in years assumed the worst, sharing unverified reports that he died from his injuries. These rumors spread so widely that multiple publications had to issue clarifications that Barry was alive but recovering. Barry's life was nevertheless at risk to some degree, hence a rumor starting that he didn't survive the crash. The 2-month hospital stay, multiple surgeries, and ICU placement all indicated just how close Barry came to not surviving. At 68 years old, recovery from such severe trauma is never guaranteed, but Barry survived. Slowly, painfully, he recovered enough to leave the hospital and begin the long process of rehabilitation. The collector who'd spent decades hunting treasures now faced the greatest hunt of his life, finding his way back to health, mobility, and the lifestyle he'd enjoyed before April 24, 2019. But would he ever be healthy enough to return to Storage Wars? Or had the accident ended his television career forever? The triumphant return and current whereabouts. After several years away from Storage Wars, Weiss returned for Season 14 in 2021, marking one of reality television's most dramatic comebacks. In September 2021, TMZ reported that Barry would be taking part in Season 14 of the show, which aired on November 2, 2021. No specific reasoning was given as to why he chose 2021 as the right time to return. The trailer for Storage Wars Season 14 showed Barry arriving in grandiose fashion. He rolls up in his black 1939 Lincoln Zephyr, retrofitted with a flamethrower exhaust. The Storage Wars cast was unaware of who was behind the wheel until Weiss rolled down the window and surprised his co-stars. His reappearance was welcomed by longtime viewers, especially since he had been absent from the show for nearly a decade. Barry's return brought nostalgia, excitement, and proof that he'd recovered enough to resume the physical demands of filming a reality show. Barry rejoined the cast again in Season 15 in 2023, continuing his comeback and proving Season 14 wasn't just a one-time appearance. His return offered a brief continuation of his unique style and presence. reminding audiences why they'd fallen in love with the collector in the first place. However, Barry did not appear in Season 16, which premiered in June 2025. As of now, A&E has not confirmed whether he will participate in future episodes. According to Barry's IMDb page, there's no information as to whether or not he is going to make a comeback for the series' 16th season. Neither the network nor Barry has explained why he's missing from Season 16. Because of his age and health, it's not clear if Barry will return to the show. At 74 years old in 2025, after surviving a near-fatal crash and spending years recovering, Barry may simply have decided that 2 seasons was enough of a comeback. During and after his recovery, Barry found other work that didn't require the physical demands of reality television. Barry became the face of Sherwood Valley Casino, serving as official spokesperson and brand ambassador for the casino in Willits, California. This role allows Barry to make appearances, lend his personality to marketing campaigns, and earn income without the rigors of filming reality TV. In recent years, the avid car collector has been spotted by fans at auto events, continuing his lifelong passion for unique vehicles. Barry has also been seen at the Chili Bowl Nationals, a prestigious midget car racing event held annually in Tulsa, Oklahoma. In January 2024, an interviewer noted that former Storage Wars star Barry Weiss has been coming to the Chili Bowl Nationals for the past few years, and talked with him about what makes the event special as a lifelong dirt track racing fan. These public appearances prove Barry remains active and engaged with the automotive and racing communities he's always loved. He's living life on his terms, attending events that interest him, representing the casino, collecting antiques, and spending time with his family, including his grandson, Jack. As of 2025, Barry Weiss is very much alive, living at age 74 with the same charisma, humor, and love for adventure that made him a fan favorite. He fully recovered after surgery and rehabilitation from his 2019 accident. While he may never return to Storage Wars full-time, Barry's survival, recovery, and comeback demonstrate the resilience of the man fans came to love as the collector. Do you think Barry will appear in future Storage Wars seasons, or has he permanently retired from reality television? Share your thoughts with us in the comment section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.